The roar of the engines, the screech of the tyres, and the thrill of victory. It's what makes Formula One racing so exhilarating. And at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the excitement was at an all-time high as Red Bull claimed their second 1-2 of the season. But while Sergio Perez crossed the finish line first to secure his first win this season, the Mexican driver was far from thrilled. In fact, he was downright furious with his own team. So what happened? Let's dive in and uncover the drama behind Perez's surprising outburst. Formula One is a sport where every second counts, and every decision made by a team can have a significant impact on the outcome of a race. And at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, tensions were running high within the Red Bull team as Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen battled for supremacy. While Perez managed to claim his 5th career win, he was left fuming with his pit wall after teammate Verstappen snatched the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. As Perez held Verstappen at bay by over 5 seconds, he became frustrated with the communication coming from his pit wall. When he was told to maintain his pace, the Mexican driver questioned whether the same message had been given to his teammate. It was a clear sign that tensions were simmering between the two drivers. But it was in the final moments of the race when Verstappen once again showed that he was willing to put himself above the team and his teammate. After asking about the fastest lap, he was told that the team was not worried about that. But Verstappen wasn't satisfied with that response, and he put his foot down over the final lap to steal the fastest lap from Perez. The situation left Perez seething, and he was quick to express his frustration with his team after the race. He said, "I don't understand why they didn't let me go for it. I was the one leading the race. I was the one with the best tires. It's not fair. It's not fair at all." You're enjoying this video, right? You definitely don't want to miss out on other amazing videos. So all you have to do is hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. The tension between Perez and Verstappen had been building throughout the 2022 season, and it finally boiled over during the Brazilian Grand Prix. After the race, the tension between the pair was at breaking point as Perez questioned Verstappen in the cooldown room. Perez pointedly asked his teammate, "Were you not told to keep the pace?" Speaking to reporters after the victory, the frustration was evident with the 33-year-old star. Perez told the Saudi Arabian media, "I asked 2 laps from the end when they told me to keep a certain pace. They told me I had the fastest lap and to keep the pace at a certain pace. I thought the communication was the same to Max. I think we need to review the different information, and I just couldn't push then in the end." Perez was pressed if he was happy with how the communication among the team had unfolded and asked if he liked them letting the drivers race despite a large lead in hand. Later on Monday, Perez posted to Twitter, "It was tougher than I thought, but in the end, I'm happy to get my 5th victory in F1. Very happy with the result of the team. We're going to keep pushing very hard. I want to be champion." However, the Mexican driver quickly deleted the post, uploading the same tweet without the line, "I want to be champion." According to Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko, the push on the final lap was just typical Max behavior. He said that was uncontrollable. That's just Max. Both were constantly asking who had the fastest lap, and Max waited until the last lap so Perez couldn't counter. It means the lead in the World Championship for him. We are very satisfied with the race. Team boss Christian Horner also weighed in. He said, "Inevitably, as Max said on the radio, the point for the fastest lap meant a great deal to him, and there was no reason for us not to let either he or Checo have a crack at it." While the Mexican was mobbed by his teammates in pit lane, there was one person who didn't seem too thrilled about the result, Max Verstappen's father, Jos. As Perez basked in the glory of his victory and received hugs and high fives from the Red Bull staff, Jos Verstappen completely blanked the Mexican driver. He stared straight ahead, offering neither a smile nor a pat on the back, making it clear that anything other than a victory was underwhelming for the Verstappen family. The awkward snub didn't go unnoticed by eagle-eyed F1 fans, who took to social media to comment on the tense moment. Some speculated that Jos Verstappen was a sign of tension within the Red Bull team, while others simply saw it as a reflection of the Verstappen family's high expectations for their son. This wasn't the first time that Verstappen had finished behind a Red Bull teammate, but it was a reminder that the battle between the two drivers was far from over. With tensions already simmering between Perez and Verstappen, this latest incident only added fuel to the fire. Verstappen was certainly in no mood to smile when he returned to the pit lane after the race, deciding to park his RB19 there rather than out on the track where the top 3 markers had been set out. His father Jos was also far from a happy bunny in the garage. Verstappen said after the race, "Of course, I recovered for second, which is good, and in general everyone in the team is happy, but personally I'm not happy because I'm not here to be second, especially when you are working hard back at the factory to make sure you arrive here in a good state and making sure everything is spot on. You have to do a recovery race, which I like. I mean, I don't mind doing it, but when you're fighting for a championship, and especially when it looks like it's just between 2 cars, we have to make sure that the 2 cars are reliable." The 2016 world champion Rosberg took issue with Verstappen's attitude, saying that he should be more gracious considering the challenger that Red Bull have given him. one which Bahrain and Saudi Arabia have suggested is far superior to all others in F1 2023. Rosberg said regarding Verstappen's reaction, "It's not good to see that really. Yesterday, he left the track very quickly and skipped the team meeting apparently. That's what we've been told, and I think that's not a good approach, not a good mentality this early in the season. And when the team has done such a brilliant job with that car and is working so hard and everything, he could be a little more gracious maybe, I would say. Being Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull is widely regarded as the toughest job in Formula 1, as Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly can attest. While Perez is contracted with Red Bull until the end of 2024, the presence of Ricciardo as a reserve driver waiting in the wings is a constant reminder of the pressure to perform and be the ideal supporting act to Verstappen. The Mexican driver has been a perfect foil to Verstappen in his 2 championship-winning seasons, but there were signs of a breakdown between the two drivers last year when Verstappen refused to let Perez pass him at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Tensions also flared when Verstappen's mother reportedly accused Perez of cheating on his wife in a since-deleted post, adding more fuel to the already simmering rivalry. Verstappen is 1 point ahead of Perez in the overall standings after the first 2 races of the year. As he alluded to, they look to be the only ones mounting a serious title challenge this year, with the Red Bull cars in a league of their own on the grid in the early stages of this season. Hamilton's assessment of Red Bull was brutally honest and potentially worrying for F1. "I've definitely not seen a car so fast," he said. "When we were fast, we weren't that fast. That is the fastest car I've seen, especially compared to the rest. Max came past me with some serious speed." Struggling all weekend, Hamilton was left clutching at straws, flying in dirty air, and looking hopefully into what seems to be the distant future. He said, "I went forward, which is always the hope, but the strategy didn't work out, and the setup was a bit off. There's lots of work to do, but there are positives to take away from it." Fernando Alonso crossed the line third and was celebrating his 2nd straight podium for Aston Martin and his 100th overall before he was robbed of 3rd place. Race officials handed Alonso a 10-second time penalty for lining up outside of his grid box while serving a penalty during the race. The decision elevated Mercedes' George Russell up into 3rd. An early pit stop to replace a damaged front wing cruelled Oscar Piastri's hopes of a top 10 finish, but he drove an impressive race, overtaking McLaren teammate Lando Norris to finish 15th. It remains to be seen how the Red Bull team will handle the situation moving forward, but one thing is for sure: the rivalry between Perez and Verstappen is far from over. What's your thought about the Verstappen-Perez rivalry? Will it be like the intense team rivalry we have seen in F1? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.